You ready for this deal, Jimbo?
Hey, fire in the hole. I'm always ready.
Old stories like long lost friends, rodeos and late night bends, history before our time, round pens and pasture rides, cowboys of the Osage.
Howdy, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Cowboys of the Osage podcast, brought to you by the Ben Johnson Cowboy Museum, located in historic downtown Pawhuska, Oklahoma. Hey, don't forget to share it, like it, subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff. We're on every major platform of podcasts, so let everybody know about it. Hey, it's old Cody over here. And as always, I have my old partner with me, Mr. Rodeo historian himself, Jimbo Snively. Hey, Jimbo. Good morning. Good to see you. Who do we have today?
Hey, good to see you, Cody. And it's just another great day in Osage. And Cody, we got one of the great healers in all of rodeo with us today. He's a 14 times national finalist. He won the national finals in, I think, 2017 average. He has career winnings up approaching $2.5 million. It's really one of the great ones out there. We watched him during the finals this year, in Vegas and all that. And of course, I'm talking about Travis Graves. And Travis, welcome to the Cowboys of the Osage podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's our pleasure. Where'd you grow up at, Travis?
And I grew up in Jay, Oklahoma. That's where I grew up. And I moved down to Stephenville, Texas I've been here about 14 years, I think. But all my family's still in Jay, and I always go out and back to Jay. And I'm an Okie at heart.
That's kind of pretty good team roping country, isn't it, over there?
Yeah, there's a lot of team ropers over there. We had an indoor arena when I was growing up, and we put on a lot of ropings. And there was a lot of ropers over there that growing up, it seemed like, and still is to this day.
There's some foremans over there, aren't there? You know
Yeah,
any of those? Yeah.
the foremans I've known ever since I was a little kid.
Paul Lee's cousin.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
Tars and Mick, Cowboy, and Paul Lee, all those guys. I remember going to ropings over there when I was just a little kid to Oaks, Oklahoma. And yeah, those guys were the first ones I ever seen rope at the top level. Growing up, I never had seen anybody rope like that. Them, and it was amazing to me how advanced they were compared to everybody else that I'd seen, and I sure learned a lot from watching them and being.
There's a bunch of roping guys around that. What about Bobby Hall? Do you know him?
Oh yeah, Bob Hall. I think I won my first open with Bob Hall growing up. Of course, everybody knows Brenton Hall. That's his son. He I think he's 22 or 3 nowadays, and I think he's made the finals a couple times, 2 or 3 times. But yeah, Bob Hall was I known him ever since I was a little kid. Like I said, I won my first open rope with Bob Hall.
There's so many great ropers down there. What about the Bacons? That's just a name you don't hear anymore that often, but boy, howdy, there was a whole slew of them about like the Foremans.
There's a bunch of Bacons. Again, that was a Mike, JD, a couple others, Ernie. I know those 3 really well.
Well, they can rope fast too.
Yeah, they could. They could all rope really well.
JP Wickett, he wasn't too far from you over there.
JP, I roped with JP. He was one of my first guys I roped when I got my pro card. We went to the circuit rodeos and went to some rodeos together. He kind of cracked me out, I guess, kind of showed me the ropes a little bit when we rodeoed prairie circuit a little bit. So yeah, I've
You
known
guys went to
JP.
some amateur rodeos too, didn't you? You and JP.
A lot of amateur rodeos. I think I went to junior rodeo there in Pawhuska one time. I think my very first, I roped with old Paul Bogart over there one time. It was pretty cool.
Probably the cavalcade.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, it was a lot of history there in Pawhuska.
Did you ever do any calf rope or anything, Travis?
I've never calf roped. Now I've tied a couple down, but I
Hmm.
never been anywhere with it as far as that goes. But um, tripping, I've tied a couple down here and there. But I want to get into it more. That's something I want to do. And like Coleman Proctor here lately, he's been getting into it and he's doing well. He seems like he's kind of getting it figured out and doing doing the all around deal. I think it's a good thing to do.
They better watch out for him. I saw Coleman just won a round at San Antonio the other day, and I think he won like
He's
2 rounds at Cheyenne last year.
Yeah.
You better watch
did
out
it.
for that. Some of the best
Yeah,
steer ropers around were healers. Bobby Harris was a great steer roper.
yeah,
Rich Skelton, great steer roper. There's been a bunch of top-notch healers that could really rope steers good.
yeah.
Hopefully,
Like
you're
you
the
said, yeah. I would like to do it. I want to do it. I want to get into it, and which I know it's just like everything else. You got to have a great horse, and those are not real easy to find. But I would I want to start getting into it a little more.
When did you join the PRCA?
I joined the PRCA. I think it was 2004. 2004. Mm-hmm.
How long did you rodeo before you made your first NFR?
It took me 4 years to first NFR. '08 was my first year, so yeah, it wasn't an easy thing for me. I had to learn a lot, and it's something that takes some time to figure out how to make the NFR and to be around the right kind of people to teach you how to win and how to enter and the places you need to go. And there's just a lot to it. It's not just put your name down and just make the NFR. I mean, it takes some things. It takes some time to learn the ropes a little bit.
What made you want to be a healer as opposed to a header?
I don't know. When I was young, little kid, I was just good at healing. I could get in time pretty easy. Time, with the steer, it was easy for me. So it was just something that I did then, and I could catch quite a few, and I just never did really do anything else. I just kind of got that name, as the healer. But I had jackpots around, like my dad. Like I said, my dad had jackpots, and I would head at those when my number was too high. I couldn't compete healing, so I would head at those. So I mean, I can head, but I wouldn't want to do it professionally.
You mentioned the timing. Where do you want the steer's legs when you throw your rope?
Man, the timing is the key to healing. As far as the steer's feet will be back, and you want to throw your loop as the feet are coming forward at the right time. And that is dang near all of healing. I mean, if you can't get in time, it's pretty hard to ever get real consistent at healing.
So his
I
back
mean,
feet would still be
there's a
on the
lot.
ground.
Yeah, the back feet will be, they lift up and they come off the ground and then they start coming back forward is when you
Right.
want to be throwing.
I
That
see.
way it meets, and then it'll be right in the middle of your loop.
I got you.
We just saw a deal. They got a rule change in the PRCA, Travis.
Hmm.
Something to do with the judging, where there's 3 judges. What is that? And why
The
did they make that
crossfire,
change?
right? The crossfire rule is what you're talking about,
It
right?
has something to do with the crossfire. I didn't read it real good because I'm not entering anywhere, but
Yeah, it's the crossfire. And they've had a lot of trouble. They really have with the crossfire deal. Still at Denver, they still had the 3 judges. In my opinion, they still messed up a couple times. They flagged a couple guys out that didn't crossfire, and there was a couple guys that got away with crossfire. It's just something that it's hard to see what is legal and what's not if you've never really been a team roper, in my opinion. To it's hard to you can write the rule down and you can read it out, but it takes somebody with experience that knows when the switch is legal and when it's not. And their thinking was to have another judge on the side, the right side, the other side, about halfway down to where they could see it maybe easier where the switch would be. And then they have another judge at the very end, like the out gate, and they're looking at that too, thinking that would change it. But the ruling is like the flagger will drop it, and he'll look at the other judges to see what they thought, and then they go together, and then the judge on the right on the healer side makes the final call.
As many good angles there are with these cameras nowadays, I don't know why the heck, they don't go after the rodeo, any controversial call, and just go back and look at it directly after the rodeo because the footage is all there now.
I'm with you. I've always thought that, why would you not just play it back, and get it right. But even at the NFR, you could do it easily. And especially at that's the biggest event there is, that you would think that they would just, watch the footage and make sure they get it right. But I don't know. They've always had trouble with that call. And some people say, well, why don't you just take it out? Well, you can't take it out. That's team roping. If you take that rule out, that changes everything. That's part of team roping. It changes the whole healing aspect of it, in my opinion.
Is that something you think about consciously when you're
Well,
healing, or you just let it
yeah,
go?
you train yourself, to ride in the perfect position to rope the steer on the very first available hop. You know, crossfire, you can be further back. It's like the American you've seen when they do it. You're further back and you throw it and they switch in it. You want to be further back to where when he switches in it, you can get tight faster. And you have to be further back to where you can see it switch and you can put your rope down. But right with the crossfire, illegal, like the way it should be now, is you have to ride around the corner and then be able to throw that very first legal hop. And that's something that we've all worked on our whole career, to be in that perfect spot at the right time. That is the hardest part, one of the hardest parts about healing, especially when you get in an advanced, professional level.
Me and Jimbo's been thinking that they need to use last year's Cheyenne cattle all year at the Bulldoggers with some big old horns. Make it slick horns only.
Slick horns only.
Yeah.
If they did that, it would slow it up a lot, I think. Cheyenne, it's something cool. I love that rodeo. I look forward to it every year. Just the history there, and like you said, I roped steers dang near as big as my horse there before. It's just crazy how old school they are, and I love those old school rodeos. That Salinas, and it's just something you always look forward to going to in the year.
I got in so much trouble at Cheyenne, Jimbo. We supplied the team roping cattle there 10 times. Yes, sir. So much trouble, but good kind of trouble, fun trouble, Jimbo.
Really?
Oh yeah. Tell you about it, but this is a family-friendly program. So, what is me or Jimbo's never been out to Salinas. Mm-hmm. What's it like out there, team roping? Because it's always been kind of interesting to us.
It is an awesome rodeo. Again, the history is there. You have the Camarillos. They went there to the beginning of it. It seems like, and what I always loved about it is, I love the team roping history. Leo Camarillo, Gerald, they were always there, and Leo would always sit right by the box. They have these recliners right there by the box, and he would always sit there and compete and rope in the gold card, and he would watch us rope. And I knew Leo really well. He would call me and stuff, and I just had a lot of respect for him. And to me, that's what was so cool. That's what's so cool about that rodeo, is just the history there. When I think of that rodeo, I think of the Camarillos and all the great memories, and where team roping has came from to me. Well, like, John Miller, he's from Pawhuska. He was one of the first ones with the Camarillos and all that they've won. And you score them out there. I think it's 30 foot, and we both come out of the same box. So there's what is so important is that you have to have a heel horse that is really fast, and nowadays most of the rodeos are so fast, and they're reaching right there, and everything's 3 or 4 second runs. There, it's back to the old school way of, is your horse fast, and can you catch up fast enough? And an 8 second run there's pretty dang good run.
Did he let you put rubber on the horns? there now?
Yeah, at one time I don't think you could, but yeah,
Right.
nowadays you can have rubber.
My dad remembered when it was slick horn, he thought. But then we interviewed Ace Berry, and he said when he was doing it, they'd let you put cotton around the horn, but you couldn't
Really,
use.
Yeah, we got a picture of Johnny Joe back there, and he pointed it out and said, "Look at right there on that saddle horn." And he said, "That's cotton wrapped
Right,
around all the way to the top." He
right.
said, "That's the only thing we used to be able
Yeah,
to use
yeah. And I
for the
think
Valley
at
team
first,
open."
when it first started, you couldn't even use cotton. Can you imagine? And the size cattle they used?
Oh man,
I
did,
can't imagine.
did you did you ever hear about the board where they put their people's fingers up that lost them in that roping?
Yeah, yeah, I have heard about that. Yeah,
What about
I can.
Oakley, California? Is that a good team roping rodeo too?
Oakdale.
Yeah,
Oakdale.
Oakdale, yes, Oakdale's another one of those cool rodeos. My wife is from Oakdale, so she grew up there. So there's a lot of history there for us, and yeah, I really enjoy it. I've never won that thing. I think I've won second 3 or 4 times, but my wife, she's always on me about winning that thing. That they give away cool buckles, and again, that's they claim they're cowboy capital of the world there in Oakdale now. So it's it's pretty cool. And you can go to Ferresi's down there and get you a Leo sandwich. So just a lot of history. It's a cool rodeo.
That Leo, Jimbo, sitting by the box, I was at a Prescott a few years ago, and he was pumping everybody that rode in the box up. He stayed in the box the whole day and told you what you needed to do and told you if you're out and everything. It was really something to see. Is that kind of what he did over there at Salinas?
Yeah, he was just he didn't really say a whole lot to any of us, like as far as that goes, but he was just a fan of the sport. I think when you start, to me, the way I see it, he started it all. He took it, the healing aspect of it, to a different level, and he's the reason why I wrote good, or Jade Corkle, or whoever. He was the godfather. Honestly, he started, he figured out how to rope a steer in time. As he was like the very first one that really figured that out. Is the way I understand it.
Yeah, they came back here and taught schools. I saw an old flyer the other day for the Camarillos teaching a school out there at the
Slim Dotson's.
Slim Dotson's Arena. Yes, sir.
Well, and I think that's how he got T Woman, isn't it? I think that's what T told me one time. He went to one of his roping schools and around Duran or something, and he talked him into roping with him and coming back to California living with him. I think that's what started T Woman's career.
Yeah, he won his first world championship with Leo for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, that's a roper, isn't it? T Woman. That's a
Oh
name.
man, that is. Yeah, he's a legend.
They just put him in the Cowboy Hall of Fame last year. No, in Oklahoma City. That was good to see.
Yep. Did you ever do? Excuse me. Go ahead.
He made the triple finals. I don't know how many times, didn't he? I mean, it was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Something crazy is the buckskin horse that he rode for so long. My dad sold to him.
Oh, Dutch? Really? I didn't know that.
My dad actually made the NFR, I think, 2 or 3 times, the steer open finals on that horse. And
Wow, that's
bought it.
I did not know that. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
That was.
It was crazy because we felt like we were part of T and Bobby's team there for a while, because T was riding the buckskin horse that he got from my dad, and Bobby was riding a gray horse that my dad had made the finals on once. And they both were hauling our horses in their trailer with their team open stock. So
that's pretty cool. That's pretty. Those are awesome horses. I know the Dutch was. I mean, sure the other one was too. Bobby was hauling.
We bought Dutch. My dad did, out of the loose horse sale in Lahana, Colorado. They didn't even ride him through because it cost like 9% commission to ride him through and 7% commission to run him in loose, and they just ran him in loose.
And you guys bought him?
We bought him, and he just made a good steer open horse overnight. One of them lucky deals.
Was he broke, I guess, or when you got him home, or
just farmer broke? You had to plow rein him, they said, and but eventually, he just made a steer open horse overnight, I guess, and they just started hauling him and winning on him right off the bat.
I remember, I was just a kid, but I remember the first time I seen him. I never seen a horse that wide. that, that sucker was so stout made and wide, and he wasn't all that tall. What I remember of it, I mean,
Oh, he wasn't.
he's probably just the perfect build for a steer open horse. But I've never seen a horse that wide that could actually run, do some stuff. I was amazed by that.
Yeah, that horse was a complete package. They don't come around every day.
No, absolutely not.
Did you ever get to do any team tying, Travis?
Uh, like at Hereford at the Spicer Grip, they started doing team tying a little bit, and I've entered it a couple of times, and they do it at the Winnie Ryan, and I've done it there once, but I've never done it a whole lot. It's different for sure, but that's how it all started, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I don't even know when they stopped team tying at Oklahoma City at the national finals. Do you, Jimbo?
No, not exactly. Sometime in the 70s, I think.
But when they first started putting that in Oklahoma City, wouldn't they team tie 5 and then
Right.
California Dally 5, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah.
When I was a kid, Travis, all the team roping was done in Arizona and in California. There wasn't hardly any here. You know, and in fact, I went to I was just 3 years old. I went to the first national finals team roping in Clayton, New Mexico. They had the steer roping there at the same time. My family was in the steer roping, but they were all the contestants were either from Arizona or California. There wasn't any that I know of, any Okies or anything like that.
Yeah, that's where it all started, huh? It started up there, and
Yeah.
I said the Camarillos and all that, and then it all eventually moved our way. It seems like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we took over the deal.
Yeah.
Then the Okies took over the whole deal.
Yeah.
We're living everywhere now, but still all the best team ropers are Okies.
I agree. I agree.
Well, especially coming up in these amateur rodeos around here. They weren't any joke, Jimbo. I mean, they didn't score them a real long ways, but you still had to be rather fast to even have a chance at anything.
Right.
Pretty wicked amateur.
Give you here. It's a little funny story about that first team rope. My dad ran the chute, and it was real cold, but my dad was running the chute, and you didn't know any of those guys because they, like I say, they wasn't any team roping here, so he didn't know any of them. And a guy backed in the box from California or somewhere and said, "Unchain him." And my dad didn't know what to do. He said he didn't know what. Unchain
What
him.
does that mean? What does that mean?
I don't know. He just sat there, and finally the guy said, "Yeah, turn him loose or turn him out." But it was just a difference between regions, or whatever, and
Yeah.
and he didn't know what the heck he was talking about when he said unchain him.
I wouldn't have known that either. I would have been like him. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
There's a lot of these old timers around now that get a little grumpy at these headers, it seems like, because they're not very consistent with the head loop. But I've been trying to take up for all you guys, and they're telling them, they're having to take a very low percentage shot to even have a chance to win any of this money, especially if it's just a one header or something.
Yes, man.
What do you think about that?
It's amazing how much the sport has changed, even since I've started, or even in 5 years. It just you get new kids coming up that reach, and that that's all they've done. That's all they've ever done is reach, and they've figured out how to reach and catch the steer and turn it so fast that it's amazing that even catch any of them that far, and it's a huge advantage to that to be able to be that consistent at it. And there's still kids that do it too much. You got to know when to do it, and you also got to know when to go catch. I mean, those two things will never change in pro rodeo, in my opinion. That when you got to be 9, you got to know, hey, I got to go run down here, and I got to turn the steer and be able to do that. But like you said, nowadays it's a lot of one headers, so that doesn't come into play a whole lot. Everything's bracket set up, even like Denver. The final round, what was there, 3-9, 4 flat, and a 4-3. So I mean, those those days are just going away. There's not very many tuna shorts anymore. Like when I first started, I remember a lot of the rodeos would be 2 and a short. Cody, Wyoming was a 2-header. There's not that many of them anymore. A lot of them are 1-headers, and if you're not fast, then it's hard. You're not going to win. So, I mean, it doesn't do you any good to go turn the steer and be 6 because it's the same result. I mean, you might as well, if you're a header, reach and try to spin the steer to be 4 or short 3 or long 3 to win something. So, I mean, I think that's where it's changed. And like I said, these guys they've gotten better. They're really good at what they do.
I think part of it is that I'm wondering if, I know at least a dozen kids. They don't go to school. They're homeschooled. They're out in Arizona right now roping the entire winter. And, their parents take them to there's a lot of major junior rodeos now compared to what there used to be, with high school and junior high. And these guys they're roping every day for money. That's got to be something. That's got to be pretty good.
Yeah. And you have the World Series and the USTRC and all those roping associations. That was another thing that took team roping to another level and allowed, kids like me that start roping in the low numbers and you work your way up. And I think that's helped change the team roping world. What makes these kids learn how to win at a young age, and you get to rope for money, and there's some pressure and stuff, and that's where it starts. Then you move up, and then you start going to rodeos, which I will say, jackpot and rodeo are 2 separate deals. It does take some time to figure out the two. I think they both take some time to figure out what's changed or what you have to change to be both.
Yeah, I agree with you on that for sure.
All the fast setups now, Travis. Would you rather rope the fast setups or would you rather the longer scores?
I mean, I like I said, to be great, you have to be good at both. I mean, nowadays it's just the way it's got to be. But I like the two in the short. I thought that was good. But I also understand where they're coming from, or the 1-headers. They're also doing it because we don't want to have to make a trip back and forth, and that's another reason why the PRCA is doing that. As far as diesel's expensive, and the cows, the cattle and stuff, they don't want to have to pay for all those cattle and all the run money on them. But I prefer, like, Denver. To me, I think that it's hurt their rodeo. I've won Denver 2 times. I think I won it. I don't remember 2014 with Trevor when I won it. Then I think I won 12-5 or something. Nowadays, the way they make the rope and the tournament style, I think the most you could possibly win is 9,000, maybe. It just changes it to where they split the money up so much that it's harder to win more money that way. And I understand there's some rodeos that you can do that. San Antonio, Houston, they add enough money. Yeah, you can do that because the sets pay so much in each one of them. But Denver, it's really not. It's kind of hurt their rodeo more than it's helped it.
How does that system work? I mean, I see they're doing it, but I don't really understand it. I haven't really looked into it too much.
Denver was 10 teams in each set. You're guaranteed 2 head, but you're roping against the first 2 head. You were roping against the whole rodeo, right? Everybody gets 2. So the first round is paid against the whole rodeo. The second round is paid against the whole rodeo, but they only take the top 3 out of each set to the semifinals of those 10 teams. So another thing that's weird is, one set 2 barriers might make it back to the semifinals. In my set, 10-7 was the last hole. You had to be 10-7 or faster to advance to the semifinals. So that's another deal that's kind of weird in the way they do it. But like I said, San Antonio's different, Houston's different, and it just depends on. In my opinion, it's just their rodeo. It's hurt their rodeo more than it's helped it.
If they're paying out on the longos on that, seemed like they just take everybody back from the
Yeah,
fastest time from the bracket. So that's what it
yeah,
seemed like just a regular back to back.
uh-huh. And the semifinals don't pay it that well. I mean, and the finals doesn't pay that well either. Or back in the day, you roped 2, and then they brought the top 12 to the short round, and then whoever won the average was the champion. Who had won the rodeo. And like I said, back then the rounds would pay 40 some hundred, I think. 4,500 maybe a little more. The average would pay 60 some hundred, or more. But I don't know. Everybody's kind of getting to this tournament style rodeo, and it's changing a little bit. I can see it changing.
Some of the committees, they told me that the crowd don't understand what an average is or anything, or a long go round or anything like that, and they want to see a champion every single day at the rodeo.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I understand that, but
if they don't understand it, why don't we just tell them that's the champion?
I don't understand it sitting at home. I used to understand 2 of the short go, but I don't understand
exactly. It's hard to explain the tournament style. It's hard. Like my dad, he still doesn't understand it. He doesn't.
My dad's the same way.
He don't know if I've done good or bad. Like he's trying to figure out if I advanced or not. So I mean, it's hard. It's hard to explain it. It really is.
Well, Denver used to be a historic rodeo, though, did it?
Oh yeah,
a lot of wild stuff's went on up there, hadn't it, Jimbo?
Oh wow, for sure. That's where Clyde Burke got killed. In the bulldogging. Up there, he's hazing for Bill Hancock. I think it was 1945. Heck of a deal. But
either guys don't get a very long break. It don't seem like from the 10th round of the NFR to when the next year starts up rodeo. And how long a break do you guys really have before you have to hit the road and actually drive to the rodeo?
I went to Odessa January 9th. So not what is it? Not much. A couple weeks. Back at it. Yeah, there's not really an off season.
seems like you're just going all out, whatever it takes to make the finals. I mean, that's where the money's at now. Is that what it feels like to you? Just do whatever you can to get to the finals?
Yes, for sure. And that the NFR is where it's all at for us, especially now, especially nowadays. The rounds pay dang near 30 grand a night. That's unreal, and and I see it still getting better. I just that's the whole carrot that we chase. To get to the NFR and have a great 10 days. And I think Trevor Brazil, not Tanner Thomason and Patrick Smith, I think they won 200 grand this year. That's just amazing to me. And I think that's the most maybe ever won there. I don't know that, but that's a lot. And the money's there to be won. You just got to go have a good 10 days and rope good and have a little bit of luck.
Well, you guys won like 95,000, I think, this year or last year, and you just finished 6th in the average or something, but placed in 3 or 4 rounds, But you could have had a better finals, and you still won 95,000.
Yeah, like I said, I won 95 grand and really didn't have a very good NFR.
Yeah,
and it's good that it's paying that, because like you said, we put the stuff we have to do to go all year to get there. It needs to pay something. Horses cost a lot, rigs cost a lot, diesel. I mean, it's just there's a lot that goes into it. So I'm glad that it's actually paying a lot nowadays to where we can win quite a bit.
Right.
I'm glad to see it, Jimbo.
Oh,
Over
yeah.
time, these horses are actually worth something as much as the truck pulling them. Really, they always should have been. Good horses should have been worth what the truck is worth pulling them, I thought. And now they finally are. I mean, it's cut me out of the horse deal. I can't buy a horse anymore. But do you make your own horses, Travis, or do you buy horses already made?
Man, like when I first started, I had a great horse I called Superstar. He was reserve horse of the year, I think, a couple times. I got him when he was 3 or 4 years old from Tommy, right there, Tommy Marvin. He's my cousin.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, he's my cousin. I think he lives right there at Barnstall or somewhere around there, I think.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah, we got a big deal to him here in the museum.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's security, he's a big time cutter. That's where anyway, I bought him from him and I made him. That horse lasted a long time. He's still alive to this day. He's 30 years old. But he was probably the best horse that I've ever had. As far as so easy to catch on, fast, had all the stuff. He's really what made my career, got me started to where I could afford, because nowadays I'm gone so much. It's very hard to bring a horse up and thrown in the fight, because every time I need to win. So it's and down here, everything is that you're open against the best guys in the world. So it's very hard to bring in a green horse where you don't fry the horse, or you feel bad because your partner's got his money up and he needs to win and I need to win. So it's a very hard deal to do. But I do see, the futurity stuff is growing, and there's a lot of great horses coming from that. And I, I think that's helped the horse market as far as making these horses worth a lot. And it's just another way for new money to come in, and that's what the sport needs. I think that it's awesome too, as far as that goes. But horses, like you said, they're unreal what they cost. But for us, you're only as good as your horse. I mean, if I don't have a great horse, I don't have a chance for me to compete at the best I can.
Is it hard to keep a horse going all year? I mean, with these short setups, do they get it anticipating and setting up like the calf horses
Yeah.
and stuff do?
Mhm. Yeah, it is. I mean, like I said, it's so fast nowadays. Horses get smart. They know that gonna go about 50 feet out there and turn left and stop.
Right.
But it takes more than one. I got three good horses now, that I feel like I can go get at any time, and I did that. I do that a lot. I have a good horse that I called Chip that I rode for the last couple of years and ride him here and there, and then I'll send him home and get another one and just kind of swap them off, because the road's hard on them too. I mean, it's not just the runs; it's the road and all the miles and stuff. So I try to swap it out a little bit and try to save them as much as I can.
We were watching the finals there, and you're really the only healer that old Trevor, besides Patrick Smith, that Trevor gave a lot of praise to when he was helping doing the commentating there. What was he like to train with and practice with? And
He was awesome. I learned a lot being with him. It was awesome to be around him. Um, just I tell this story. I remember going to his house, and we were open, and Roy Cooper comes over there. He lives next door, and I knew Roy a little bit, but not a lot. And Roy, I don't know if you've been around Roy much, but he'll make you feel like you're the best there's ever been. Like he's got a way to give you confidence that is I've never seen before. And we'd be over there practicing. He'd tell us, "Man, you guys are it's going to be so good. You guys are going to set records. Or you're gonna be the best." He just constantly feeding you that confidence, and that's confidence is dang near what it's all about. If you don't have any confidence, you can't win. And one thing Trevor said, confidence is the easiest thing to lose and the hardest thing to get. I mean, so I think having those people around you that constantly build you up and keep you up to where you're never down. And that was another thing that Trevor had around him. He had those people around him, and he would have a 5 minute rule. If he messed up, he would be a little upset for about 5 minutes, and then it was over. We're done. We don't talk about it no more, and that was the end of it. Move on. You can't get it back. And short memory. That was a big deal to him. I remember that like it was yesterday. But as far as I just learned a lot being around him. He's a winner. I mean, he took it to another level as far as the horsemanship, as far as the rigs, as far as how to enter and the practice, the work that you put in it to prepare for an event. Um, and he was super funny. We had a good time, and we did really well. It was a lot of fun. I'll never forget roping with him. It was a blast.
Who else have you roped with, Travis? I don't have the entire list here.
I've roped with a lot of guys. Clay Tryon, Chad Masters, Caleb Driggers, Turtle Powell. Those are a few guys that have came. Dustin Eggleski's. Now I'm roping with Tyler Wade. Trevor. I think that's about it. I mean, I've roped with. It seems like all the great guys. That has been in my era.
That Chad Masters, that's a roping son of a gun, Jimbo. He might not have ever been around.
No.
I think he's from maybe east of the Mississippi, one of the few great team members from there. And boy, howdy, it don't even look real sometimes when he reaches up to head a steer. I think I saw him one time not even swing. He just threw his rope out there and slick horned him and dallied, and they were like 4-something. It's the dangest thing I've ever seen in my life. And then
Yeah, he ropes really good.
this Tyler Wade, he can really get it on him fast. It seems like too.
Yeah,
Fast
he
as
can.
anybody, really, right?
Yeah, no, he is. He's super talented and he's a great guy, and I'm looking forward to this year.
Caleb Driggers, that's another one that came from east of the Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think there's ever been a header quite like him.
No, gold buckles, they don't lie, like Fred says, I guess. But he's by far he's the best hitter going right now. I mean, he's proved it 2 years in a row. But like one thing about it is the new year started and no one really cares about what you done last year.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
here we
We're
go
hoping
again.
for Wade and
Yeah,
Wade.
yeah. But
Guys
he
can
is,
do it this year.
yeah, Caleb he's a great hitter and he's definitely at the top of his game right now.
Travis, you work all year to make the finals, go wherever you have to go, and you get to Vegas. What's that like? What's your routine out there?
Oh, as far as every year when I pull into Vegas, it's still a great feeling, because you know how hard it is to get there and the opportunity that you're fixing to have to get to rope for that kind of money and just getting to rope there. There's a lot of people, that haven't got that opportunity, and I don't ever want to take that for granted. And that the atmosphere there is unbelievable. You can't get that anywhere else. Um, and when you ride in the box, I don't care how many times you've been there for that first night, you're nervous, and I don't care what anybody says. I don't care who you are. You just want to get it going and get it started on the right foot. Where you can build some momentum to where you can have a great week. And but it's an awesome feeling as far as competing there, and then you have all the signings. I'm busy every day. It seems like always somewhere to sign for all my sponsors and stuff, or a meet and greet and things like that. So it's a pretty busy, hectic, 14 days out there.
Where do you stay at?
I've always stayed at the Mirage. The Mirage.
It's gone now, isn't it? Or they're closing it now. I don't
Yeah,
think it's there anymore.
yeah, I heard they are. This was, I think, was kind of the last year of
Yeah.
they're doing it, they're modeling it, and they might be changing the name of it. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, I've always stayed there. And Casey Jones, he's always been really good to me, and been on the Mirage team and stuff like that. But yeah, that's where I've always stayed.
Do most of the team members stay together, or can you just stay wherever you want to? I guess
This year they used to everybody stay at the Golden Nugget. The team ropers, stay there, and the calf ropers stay somewhere else. And uh, but the team ropers stayed at Resort World this year. That was a new casino that they've built and that they're doing.
Hey, when you're backing in the box there at the NFR, can you hear Joe Beaver sitting there talking about you the whole time?
No, not really. I don't. I mean, he's right there. Yeah, I can. I don't really hear him.
Have
You
you ever
see him.
met him on the elevator and he had you put your change from your right pocket to your left pocket and give you a pep talk on the way to the rodeo?
I don't think I've ever met Joe in the elevator, but I've heard he's met a lot of guys. It seems like he says that all the time, huh?
When you're sitting
Pep
there
talk.
watching it, every guy that's doing bad, he has a word with him in the elevator.
Yeah,
And, they miraculously do good that next night.
Yeah.
Pretty good
Yeah.
deal.
Mm-hmm.
Is there some place out there where you can go practice? Have you ever had to go tune your horse up or something?
Yeah. I usually go every year. I'll go somewhere, just to kind of get away and free your horse up. And it's always good to rope some, just kind of get out there and get your routine. This year, I went to Logandale. I have a really good friend, Jory Levy. He lives out there, and I'm sure you've heard of him.
Still.
Yeah, or was. I don't think he is anymore. But Brandon Adams, he married Brandon Adams' sister. Brandon Adams is, world champ.
Oh yeah.
And they live out there. So I went out there and I roped a couple times. So that was good. But I always usually go somewhere just to free my horse up and rope a little bit.
With the steer roping, we got a lot of big jackpot ropings, like San Angelo, Wendy Ryan, of course. And the team roping, it has quite a few big jackpots, like the BFI, also the Wendy Ryan, and some stuff like that. What's it like roping at some of those good big jackpots, and which one's your favorite?
Man, it's awesome. As far as me, I've really had a lot of success at the jackpots. It seems like it's just they pay so much, and my favorite ever was a George Strait. They don't have it anymore, but the George Strait team roping was unreal. What it would do for us
It was
as
a
a
life
professional.
changing.
Yes. I won. I won it in 2015, and I won first and third or fourth. I think first and fourth. I won first with Clay Trine and fourth with Chad Masters, and I think I won 180,000 cash in a truck and trailer. That was a life changing win. For me, that was the most money I've ever won at one time.
What's old George Strait like?
He's cool. He rope a lot, and his whole family was kind of into it, and they started the roping. That's what got them doing that. And then here lately, I don't think they rope. I don't Bubba and him. I don't think they rope anymore, and I think that's kind of why they quit having the team roping. But he's nice.
Practice with him or anything?
No, I never did. I know him. I've talked to him a lot and this and that, but I've never really had the chance to practice with him or anything.
Hope he writes a song about Travis Heelan one of these days. That'd be good.
Good.
Boy, wouldn't.
Yeah, there you go.
Being friends with Roy and Travis Heelan, that'd be a heck of a song.
Him and Roy are big buddy.
We asked Roy how they became friends one time on a podcast, and he told us the whole story.
Yeah.
You'll have to go back there and check it out. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it might not have been the real story, but he did tell us the story for sure.
The Super Looper, he's something else. He can. I remember one time we were flying to Pueblo, and there was a little. We were on a plane. It was a commercial plane, but it wasn't a very big plane. From Denver to Pueblo, there's an airport right there, and they wanted to drop us off at Colorado Springs, I think it was, but we were in a hurry trying to make it to there. And he wasn't competing then. I think I was up with Trevor, and Tuff was on there, and he was there just with us. And they wouldn't drop us off. They wouldn't stop. They didn't want to stop and let us off at Pueblo. That's where we were going to the rodeo. They're like, no, we can't do that. We got to land at Colorado Springs. Well, if we did that, we wasn't gonna make the rodeo. He talks them in to land in the plane and letting us off at Pueblo. And I mean, I've never seen anything like that. As far as he could, he just had a way with talking to people to where he just talked them into letting us do it. Because they were dead set on not doing it first, and then he got to talking to him, and he talked him into it. It was crazy how he could do that.
Yeah, we had a story this last week that they talked him into blocking the street out in front of a rodeo in North Dakota or something, and they literally landed the plane and let Roy and them out. And then the plane
Yeah.
took right back off. The guy flying the plane's the one that told us the story here on the podcast.
Everybody's got a Roy Cooper travel story, seems like.
Oh yeah, the best one was Mike McLaughlin's when
Yeah.
they had a heck of a time getting down to this rodeo in Weatherford. Long story short, they get there to the airport, no one's there. They hitchhike to town, and there just happened to be a cooler of beer right between them. And Roy opens it up and looks over at Mike and tells him, "Don't you love it when a plan comes together?" But you'll have to listen to the whole story. It was about a 20-minute story, but it was about one of the best rodeo stories.
And then they had to get back to Denver after all that with no tickets, and he gets on the plane and
waves around some
$100 bills and gets somebody to give up their. Yeah, I mean, it's just the whole deal. And Mike McLaughlin was just a wreck, and it was just another day at the office for Roy. It wasn't no big deal, you know.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like it, Roy. I mean, he's just got a way with people, and the people he knows, he knows everybody. He'll be walking to everybody, come up, and he'll be talking to him, and he knows everybody. But yeah, he could talk anybody into anything. It seemed like.
Travis, if you were making a Mount Rushmore of healers, since you're a healer, and you need 4 names to put on that Mount Rushmore, who would they be? And they don't have to be people you even saw heal. Just maybe they just had an influence on the sport or whatever.
Man, that's a tough.
And you can put yourself on it if you want to.
Oh, I'm not putting myself. No, I'm not. Clay Cooper for one. I mean, he's the best I've probably ever seen do it. You know, I got to see him a little bit, and
people liken you to him a lot. You know, you're kind of your stoic, the way you just sit there, don't really joke around. It don't look like on TV. Kind of really paying attention to what you're doing. A lot of people compare you to Clay O'Brien Cooper. So that's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, he's like I said, he's probably the best that I ever seen heal a steer. You know, just his concentration and everything was just a different level, I thought. Second, I would have to say, man, I probably put Leo Camarillo on there.
Oh yeah, you got to put Leo.
Is he started, like I said, he started all of it, so he's the reason why we are where we're at. So I'd have to put him on there. Third, man, and there's a lot of great guys. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you got.
We need 4 names here.
I know. I'll probably put Walt Woodard on there for me.
Look here.
Walt Woodard on there for me. He taught me a lot. He helped me a lot. My roping.
You know, he was one of the early guys that taught a lot of schools. You know, before it was real fashionable. I feel like he had books, videos, and everything.
He was the very first one, really. And then I went and stayed with him in California for a couple of times. So he had a lot of influence. He's had a lot of influence on me.
He came back and won the world at over 50 years old, healing.
Yeah, 2 times.
School out here west of Pasco one time. Yeah, out there at the Shaw Ranch, I believe. Somebody told me that.
Yeah, he like you said, come back at 51, I think, or whatever, and win the world. That's pretty amazing, you know. So I'd have to put him on there. Oh, and I don't know. I mean, then there's, man, Probably in my era that I've competed against, I'll probably put one. I'd have to put Jade Corkill. Just because I've competed against him a lot my whole career. I've seen how good he is and how he's helped, change the sport to me. He's one of the best I've ever seen do it. He makes it look easy and it's not. So I'd have to put him.
What about Rich Skelton?
I know that. That's what
It's
I'm
hard
saying.
to pick four,
Martin Lucero.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of
What
guys.
about Mike Beers?
Yeah, I mean, you got, like I said, Al Bach. There's so many guys there that
It's tough, isn't it?
to be on it. I agree. I mean, I agree, but
What about Joel Maker? He could be on there.
Joel Maker, I seen Britt Buckus, Corey Kuhn. I mean, we could go on and on. There's so many guys that have laid the path, changing the sport. But I would have to probably say, I'd probably have to say those four. Probably for me, that this is my deal and what I think.
What about power teams? What about Mount Rushmore of teams?
If you're
the team.
Then you
Let's
have
go
to
with team. 4 teams.
4 teams. Speed and Rich, number 1. Jake and Clay, number 2. Number 3.
T and Bobby. That's
T and Bobby. Yeah, they won it one time, right? Did they win it one time?
Yeah, but they could have won it more.
Sure. They could have won it more.
But they didn't. They won it one time. T won it twice.
T won it twice. I think T might have won it 3, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe 3 even. You're correct.
But yeah, I would say, put T Woman and Bobby Harris on there. 4 out, as of right now, you'd have to put in my era, Caleb and Junior, 2-time world champion back to back. It's hard to do. That the record this last year for most money won. So I would pick them in my era.
Junior is one of the few team ropers to win an all around.
Besides
Trevor and Joe,
All right.
You don't see it too much.
Nope.
For sure.
Yeah. No, it is.
All those teams he named, pretty hard to beat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I know I'm leaving somebody out, and I hate doing that. I don't want, but
we like putting you on the spot. We do it all the time, and most people have trouble coming up with 4. They'll come up with 1 or 2 just real quick, and then that third and fourth one, they really come haul around a lot. But you did pretty good.
How important are sponsors nowadays for you guys?
Oh man, sponsors are everything. It seems like as far as make it, just like this diesel's expensive. If you have a fuel card, then there you go. That's another money that you get to put in your pocket. And just I have some people that are just friends that help me out just because they're friends and they can afford to do it, So, but sponsors is what really puts it mathematically to where you can make a good living. Honestly, when you're starting out, you don't have any sponsors. I didn't have any sponsors. You're just trying to get going and make the NFR, and then hopefully get there and get something built to where people know who you are, to where you can get a few sponsors and stuff. So it's a very hard deal to get started in. I will say that, but sponsors is what makes it all work, I think.
Nowadays, do you Cowboys do all your own negotiating for sponsors, or do you have an agent? What's going on with the World Professional Cowboys these days?
To get the big deals, I think you have to have an agent. I really do. I learned that again being around Trevor. He always had an agent, and Tuff Cooper, he had an agent. And, they're just in a different league. They're around different people. They're bringing money from different sports. Like Corvive or just out of the circle. And that's to me when you really get a great sponsor instead of the same old things and the same things you see, just like ropes or clothing or whatever it is. When you get those other big companies like a Monster or something like that, then you really you get into a different league, I think. And I think the agent part of that is how that happens.
I think when we were talking about all these kids coming on now, we didn't give enough thought to possibly some of the training tools that are available now that, just weren't available to everybody back then. Like instead of one of the roping dummies, we had like a burro that we practiced
Yeah.
healing on growing up, or a donkey. But
Mm-hmm.
I think these new training tools are really helping these kids out and adults.
Oh, for sure. Helomatic, they have a great sled that you can learn how to get in time with. You can learn how to ride the horse, come out of the box, and keep him in the same spot and time again, and not get out of control. To where when I was a kid, that wasn't available really. You're just trying to rope slow steers and trying to figure it out. Where if you're roping a machine, you can slow it down, and to where it does make sense to know exactly where you need to be going down the arena, and it's slow enough to where a person can kind of figure out some timing, when they do need to place the rope down. And it's just a different deal as far as being able to break everything down. And like you said, that's one tool that we've had that I feel like that has changed it a lot. And like you said, internet, you can get on there and Google somebody you want to see, or YouTube somebody about healing, and here you go. And then back in the day, that wasn't out there. So they just have a lot more opportunity, I think, to get better quicker and get a good foundation. I think that's key.
I think so too. What ropes do you prefer to use right now, Travis?
I use Powerline Light, Classic, Rattler. They're the same brand, same company. I've used them for quite a while now, and to me, I think they make a great rope and very consistent, and they've been good to me.
They've made about all the best ropes from the start. I mean,
Yeah.
if you think about one of the oldest team roping companies, it's got to be Classic Ropes, no doubt about it.
And then I think they make polys and stuff like that for steer strings and calf strings and all this. Anything you need, you can go there and they can get it. They can make it for you.
They don't make good polys anymore. They're trading on all the old ropes from the like 80s and 90s right now, Jimbo. All the steer ropers, they're buying the old steer ropes with the old like polycord.
I bet they wish they hadn't thrown them away. They used to throw them away after one or two steers, They were still good.
When I roped with Trevor, I went into his tack room and walk in there, and there's these, I don't know how, thousands, I mean hundreds of rope, and I'm like, what are you doing with all these ropes? And he's like, man, those are the lead polys or something that he said. He says they don't make them anymore, so I bought everyone they had. And he said that you had to have it to steer rope. So I learned that right then that was very important to have the lead poly.
Yeah, the mixed ropes now, they're a little bit too bouncy for steer roping, really, for my taste, honestly. So,
and I don't know why he never did tell me what the advantage of it was, but he just said
they feel better.
They feel better.
You ever used a rope you didn't like?
Yeah, I have.
You have to keep using it over and over. That's what it's like with these new polys now. So
yeah.
But well, Travis, how many other sponsors you got? Go ahead and give all your sponsors a shout out on this deal real quick.
Cinch Jeans, they've been for 14, 15 years. They've been great. Classic Ropes, they've been with me forever. Purina, I think to this day has the best feed you could get. You can get it anywhere, any tractor supply. That's huge for us while we're on the road.
The consistency. Be able to
Yeah,
pick it
keep
up.
your horses on the
Nice.
same feed where they don't colic, it seems like, or tie up. Preferred, they make the best team rope and shoot.
No doubt about it. Hey, what about their new score shoot? That thing looks
Yeah, that's pretty
deal
awesome.
where they put a trap a steer's head in there and you can open the front gate, Jimbo, and not let your steer out accidentally or anything. It's like a great tool.
It is. They got whatever you need, panels, feeders, whatever. I mean, they're a great company. Arena Works, Arena Drags. I have a drag that I use for my arena that keep my ground really good. Water wagon, and I keep the right moisture on it. I think that's huge. These horses cost a lot. To keep that ground perfect is a big deal. They do a great job. Best ever pads. They've been with me for a long time. I have great pads. You can have a felt pad or kind of whatever your horse needs. They can make it for to build it up or do whatever you need for that horse because every horse is different. So they've been awesome. Coat saddles. I've been with them for a while, and he makes a great
horse so good.
Yeah, they make a great saddle. Bloomer trailers. Randy Bloomer has been awesome to me and for years and keeping me in a great trailer that is well built and has all the bells and whistles and little bitty things to where you can rope storage and just little things like that. Have been around it forever and they know all the little things that are important to us and my family. Bill Fick Ford, Noble down there, he's been awesome to work with and been with me for quite a few years here. And I think that's about it.
How important is it to have a good family that has your back when you're on the rodeo road all year long?
As far as if you don't have if you don't have a support team, it's pretty hard to stay hooked and stay motivated and because in rodeo you're going to lose more than so I mean that's just the way it works. But to have somebody that's behind your back, that's got your back and willing to be there and help put in the work to try to stay at the very top of your game to get better. That's what you try to do every year is to just get just a little bit better. And if you don't have a good sport team, that's not going to happen. Oh, and I got to have a signature equine. I about forgot them. I got to keep them in there. What they do for me is unreal on keeping my horses sound. Charlie Buchanan is, in my opinion, probably the best bet that you could possibly get. He has kept Chip going for 5 or 6 years, and all my horses. So it's amazing what he's done with my herd.
You get a lot of fans out there now that, I mean, you're really one of the elite guys in your sport. And now that rodeo's on so many rodeo on channels now and social media, everyone's sharing things. You get a lot of people that come up to you telling you, big fan of yours that you normally wouldn't, just people come out and want an autograph or something.
Yeah, it's amazing because you do have that happen sometimes, and it's kind of crazy how much social media has changed that to where they know who you are. And Facebook people will message me and huge fan, and it's made it to where you can have clinics and stuff. They'll contact you, and but yeah, it's amazing. I never thought it would. You grow up a kid from Jay, Oklahoma. You never dream of ever getting to that spot. But yeah, I've had it happen a few times, and it's pretty cool.
On a typical practice day at your house, is there a bunch of top-notch guys over there practicing, or do you just got one or two people you practice with?
Sometimes I'll have, it just depends on what I'm wanting to do. Right here where I live, you got dang near every top guy in the world that lives here. You got Chad Masters, you got Tyler Worley, you got Paul Lees, you got Caleb Jarrett. They're all right here, so you can get about whoever you want. But if honestly, I just kind of like it just to be me and my partner, and work on what I need to work on, video what I'm doing, see what I'm doing, see what we're doing, and then that's kind of how I like to do it. And because there's times that I need to slow down and just kind of work on my horse or something like that I kind of just need to be doing on my own. But every once in a while, like for the NFR, I think it's good to spar with somebody. Like I've roped with Luke Brown and whoever he's roping with, or take your steers over there, have the NFR arena up, and you guys
have big matches in there.
Oh yeah, you have matches. Go 10 for 10. See who can do it, and it's good. That's how you get better. Iron sharpens iron, right? So, and get to see another great guy rope, you'll pick up something. There's something you can always learn. That's what I've figured out in this business is I don't think you ever get it figured out. I don't care who you are. Seems like you're always trying to work on something.
And about the time you get it figured out, or you think you got it figured out, you find out you don't.
Yeah, it's a very humbling sport.
There's no doubt about it. Hey, one day I thought I had this whole deal figured out, and I told myself, hell, this is easy, Jimbo. And then I think I missed about 10 in a row after that, 10 different rodeos. It's very humbling sport, this rodeo.
It is very humbling.
Well, we appreciate you coming on today, Travis. And do you do any schools or private clinics?
I do. Usually about a couple year, is all I can do for clinics, but I'll do private lessons here at my house and stuff like that.
There you go, everybody. Get a hold of him.
Yeah, just message me on Facebook.
Get better. I can't find a better place to go.
No. Travis, good luck to you this year, and we expect to see you in Vegas December.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We're pulling for you.
You bet.
I've been to the Ben Johnson Museum. That's awesome that you guys have that. I love Paul Huska, just all the history there. It's amazing. I always look forward to going over there.
Me and Jimbo, we're big lovers of the history of rodeo, for sure. We're trying to keep just the history of rodeo alive and let everybody know a little bit about it that might not know much about it. So
and that's awesome. That's what the sport needs. Somebody like Jimbo and yourself that knows what's going on. That's what's happened in the history of the sport. That way it goes on to the new generation. And like I said, I love the history of the sport, and I'm a fan.
One of these days, we're going to be talking to some young team roper. I know, Jimbo.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to ask him the Mount Rushmore.
Be Travis Graves.
Travis Graves is going to be one of the first names out of his lips.
Probably.
If we live long enough, keep doing these. So.
Right.
All right, Travis, I appreciate it. And, man, we're just wishing you all the luck this year.
Thanks for having me. I really enjoyed it. And like I said, I really appreciate it talking to you, and it was fun.
Yes, sir. Well, get the money, and good luck to you guys this year. And
all right,
we'll see
thank you.
Next week.
Thank you, Travis.
Sir. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Well, howdy, Jimbo. That was a good podcast right there.
That's cream of the crop right there as far as healers goes,
Good guy, good role model. You wouldn't mind your kids looking up to him, and
for sure,
especially looking at his roping. So that's really something else.
And I want to remind everybody to hit that like and share button so we can keep these things going. It really helps us.
Throw a comment on there too.
Yeah.
All right. See everybody next week.
Old stories like long lost friends, rodeos and late night bends, history before our time, round pens and pasture rides, cowboys of the Osage.